This is the Future of the Future show. I am your host, Mateo Berbejicio. Today's guest is Karl-Gustav Kallasmaa, founder, engineer, and one of the sharpest voices thinking about how AI is changing search, visibility, and attention on the internet. He's built search systems from the ground up and now helps companies understand how they are discovered by AI, not humans. Today, we will talk about AI retrieval, startup lessons, and what founders are getting wrong about visibility today. Let's dive in. Carl, thank you so much for being here.
It's great to be here.
Carl, your journey spans engineering, search systems, and now building a 10th era. What's the biggest mindset shift you've experienced moving from coding products to leading a startup?
I would say like the amount of yapping you have to do. So like you build a great product, but at the end of the day you want people to use it and like sell it. And you have to constantly like pitch what you do and how the product works. And as engineers, like I'm used to like very low context environments. People know exactly what we're working on, especially if you're working in the like exactly the same organizations. But when I talk to like random businesses, like they're quite basic in that sense. Like they understand what the product does, but at the end of the day, they only care about their own visibility and like how to stay like competitive. But I still have to like talk a lot and like educate. So like way less coding, and coding is like being extremely like automated these days. But I would say like I've become a better engineer in that space, that like already like I know how to call things the right name, where to put stuff. So like I would say, yeah, still the amount of yapping I have to do these days.
Got it. A lot of storytelling, a lot of selling that comes with running a startup, getting clients, getting funding. Yeah, it's a big deal. Um, you've spoken about distribution being as important as product quality. How should early founders balance time between building and getting attention? This goes right to what you were saying, actually.
Yeah, well, you obviously need to have, I think, yeah, you obviously need to have a great product, but I do remember what a friend of mine told me, who's also now running a startup, is like, you can like limit the number of things you have in your product if you can, but like make sure that all of them work. So like you can still build, but like don't build features that are buggy. And it's extremely easy to do that with AI. But with distribution, like it just takes time. And like if you wanna, let's say, market your product on X, for example, it's very hard to get like 10,000 followers in a week. Not that I have it, but uh, yeah, you need to build it over months and months ahead. Um, And this way, like people are like excited to see what you're doing and like then invested in your journey. And a lot of times, like you start getting inbound and you don't have to do any marketing, and that's really the goal. So, but I totally understand why you might not want to do that, because like it sometimes like it makes sense to actually build if like if your idea is like very, I would say, obvious, like the solution, pain point, etc. is obvious, like go build. But like these days you can get things done in like a matter of weeks, not months,
Right.
I would say.
Um, You often talk about search evolving into AI retrieval. Tell me a little bit about that. How do you define this new frontier, and why is it a fundamentally different battle than traditional SEO?
Yes. So search, when you think about like the world of information, if you have a query, then there's a lot of like content out there, from like images, videos, web pages. And search engines are really good at like removing all of the like irrelevant pages that don't match your query or you as a person. But the final layer of the search, like historically, was still done by humans. So Google or other systems, they presented you with like the 10 most probable like results. And even if the first one wasn't there, you still clicked on the second or third best option. But these days, you just want the answer, and usually like depending on the quality of the system, sometimes the machine retrieves answers somehow, like they need to make a choice of which one to include or not, because like the context and tokens are like limited, so they exclude a lot of stuff. And then like what was I gonna say? Okay, so the exclusion process is increasingly more important because like people just want a answer and they don't want to do like all of this research work because like it's like really tedious, like visiting 10 web pages, analyzing, reading tables, like um so you as a brand still need to like understand that like you might want more clicks on your website, and that's totally okay. But like none of the customers actually want it. Like they just want the answer as soon as possible.
Right.
And for a lot of brands, like what I've seen is the content that they produce is like good enough to get ranked on Google, but like you don't show up in the answer because your content is good, but like doesn't provide any like novelty, or like there are no social signals or a lot of things. So it's still like retrieval problem.
Right. And what is the role of semantic clarity in AI search visibility, and how should companies rethink their content to be discoverable by LLM powered systems?
Yeah, so I would say like semantic clarity means that like okay, so let's go back to like a history a little bit. I may sound like a very old man, but like history in that sense that when you usually like wrote articles in the past, you try to rank for many different keywords, like from yeah, let's say 10 keywords. So your articles were long, very detailed, and these worked extremely well because Google measured your like how much time people spent on your web page and whether you got ranked or linked, etc. But these days, like semantic clarity really means that like the answers you give like are to the point. You can do selling, but you just have to be clear. You can't use like vague language. If like a keyword doesn't make sense in an answer, like
Hmm.
don't put it there and don't say the exact same like thing with different words. So semantic, yeah, clarity means that like the information flows very nicely from like the top to bottom. So on top, you can think of like the top part of your web page as like a summary section. So it tells what this article is about. So LLM maybe the only reason why they're reading this article is to answer a yes or no question. If you can get it answered in like the first two sentences, you will get cited, and then later on, like they will value if each of your like sections in the article are like semantically coheres. So
Hmm.
what it means is like if you have a question, or the answer is in the next paragraph, not like question, answer, and then you have like 1,000 words, then some more details. Like, for example, how you write books is like completely different. Like, if it would be so bad if like you would read like an Agatha Christie novel, and then in the first page you say who the killer is and how they did it.
Yeah.
Like, it would work well for AI search, but like no humans would ever read it. It's like we need to build up like this like narrative story. We want to be the hero, but like not in AI search. That definitely not.
That makes a lot of sense. You built full search systems from scratch. What were some surprising lessons about building AI systems that actually deliver trustworthy results?
Um, I would say like yeah, like still as an engineer, you like underestimate how much time it takes to like fix the edge cases. So for example, like when you're so like the systems that I built in the past, like the search systems, most of the time that I spent on just cleaning. Like there was a lot of like I'm a huge fan of Google, and they have done a lot of like good work out there of like removing like hate, adult, uh, duplicate content from the web, because you as a user, like you don't see it, but when you just crawl the web, it's all there. But these days, like to build trustworthy systems, like I would say like with just vibe coding and like basic prompting, you will get most of the way there. Like, but then like as humans, we are like trained to spot all of the like minor details, and these minor details like they will add up. Like for example, like we have a system that writes articles that are like optimized for AI search, but sometimes like the article messes up English and American spelling within the same article.
Right.
Um, like even though like the answer is correct, but like as a human, it will start like nagging you because it will make one mistake here and the other one there. So you have to at first like do a lot of manual testing. Just like I wouldn't spend time on like building complex like evals in the beginning, because at the end of the day you just want good answers, not tests. But afterwards, if you have a lot of prompts, the model providers so far have been getting better every 6 months or so, but like that doesn't mean that like they will always become better. Like what happened with GPT-1 and 5, like the current product, maybe it's a controversial opinion, is like horrible. Like people are still using old models, so you still have to like I would say like just test. And these systems are like a bit crazy, because when you code, you usually like if you used some past like software that was built by humans, you like you could assume that the quality was there, but like these days you can't, because the models are like live organisms. Like small changes you make in the input or output can have a drastic effect on the output. And what has happened like in our startup, um, we allowed the system to like generate content, and then we tried to like regenerate 3 times. We got like 3 different answers, and I can't explain why. And that's really frustrating.
I can imagine. Let's talk a little bit about costs of using AI, right? And I guess sometimes you're using it, and then it becomes a surprise, right? What are some of the practical lessons you've learned about balancing AI performance with efficiency at scale?
Yeah. So the biggest cost, like the two biggest costs are like live web scraping, and to like mitigate that is like really think, do you need the like live information all the time? Like for example, if you're building a I don't know, an HR hub, like do you need to visit the client profile like every day? Maybe like once a week is like manageable. I was like yesterday talking to someone building a shopping app, and like cost for them is a huge thing. And like ChatGPT does things live, which is like nice for us, but like they're a non-profit, sorry, not non-profit, like they're actively losing money. And many startups like cannot raise 100 billion just to lose even more. So web scraping is expensive and search is another one. I think 1,000 searches cost like $35. So to mitigate these costs is use the cheapest model you can use. There are some that are open source, for example, that are comparably like less more expensive, and like OpenAI also offers a family of models. So use the smallest one because with the smallest model you save money and time in your systems. And yes, you will like trade accuracy, but sometimes you don't need, like you can get a much better accuracy by just having a better prompt. And with better prompt. So the next thing around costs is make sure that like you don't give as like you give as little context as you need. Obviously, like the answer is like the standard advice is like give it as much context as you can, but sometimes um like for example, when you're classifying a web page that we do you need to provide the entire page content, or maybe like the first like 1,000 characters? So it's just like find the ways how to like send less stuff to OpenAI. Um, and then definitely monitor your costs if you can. There are a few different like analytical tools out there. I can't name them, but where you can really like see the thought process of these systems, what they're going through. Because a lot of times it's just a a black box. Like you make a call, then they call another agent who calls some tools, and then you will just pay a lot. So, okay, for the listeners, I would say like the easiest way to save money is just talk to your engineers. Like the engineers know exactly what costs a lot of money, but sometimes like they might not care to optimize. Like they optimize for other things like security and like scalability, but like they know where the bodies are.
Talk to the engineers. Keep that in mind. Of someone that builds tools to measure AI visibility, how can startups benchmark their position in the AI discovery landscape today?
Yeah. So to do that, the simplest one is just like search yourself and see. But that's yeah, like you can only do that for your own country, like very easily. And the trick is to like not use memory or any like personalization. So yeah, benchmark there, and a lot of times like you will find out that like you don't show up because like your startup like it doesn't have a lot of authority. That might be the case, or you don't have like brand mentions, your content is very thin, like you don't go into depth in any topic, and you can't provide like much value. It's very harsh. Um, anyways, how to measure, like you can use a tool like ours to see, like define a few prompts and see what like whether you are showing up or not. Um, Otherwise, like, yeah, you can just ask ChatGPT every day and like use Excel, I guess. But a lot of times, I would start with just asking these systems and see if you're showing up. And maybe you are, and like depending on like your model, if your customers mostly like come from Instagram, TikTok, there's very little that like these tools can do, because the AI systems that are like ruling there, like they don't have an API, which means we can only guesstimate how you're showing up or manually test, because they don't want to share that data. But yeah, just I would say like just test manually in the beginning.
Makes sense. One final question to you, Carl. Looking ahead, what do you think will be the biggest shift in how consumers or businesses interact with AI search over the next few years?
I honestly think that for most people, their entire browsing experience will be inside chat or Google. Obviously, like if you want to go down a rabbit hole, like there are sites for that, but like traditionally, like how the flow was like you search, you get ads, you get an answer. So sorry, like you get a link, you go there, you like browse, you do shopping research, and then you buy. But what I really believe is like the internet as we know it like will be very, very different. You can choose what website you will visit as long as it's in the top like 10. So like let's start with Google. So AI mode will become far more like ubiquitous. So currently it has the answer part. The next step we will do is like it will need the ads part. But what it's lacking is like you sometimes still need to visit the website. But I think like for shopping, they have done like a really good job already that like with Instacart or with Shopify, you don't necessarily need to visit these sites. You can just buy it. And with uh, like other websites, like really think about the reason why would you visit the website. Like sometimes you need to book a meeting. Like why can't you do it from Google? Like it's trivial. Like Google will just upgrade their like search management console like to an API integration. So there's really no reason to actually like leave the site. They can just give the answer. So that's what I think where we're heading, but I'm very worried of like that regulators and things will start fighting back. Because you as a site owner, like you're writing the content, and the reason why they were able to scrape everything for free for the last 20 years is because forgot what it's called, but like essentially they're doing a public service. They're like a library. Like I just scrape the web, show you the link, you click on it. But now they're like actively giving away your pizza recipe that your like grandma developed. You spent like an hour typing up, and now you don't benefit from it at all. So I'm really excited to see what Cloudflare and like other providers will do there. We somehow need to start paying you because affiliate links like they wouldn't work anymore. But like for startups who just want more customers in that sense, I would say just write for the models. Like get over the fact that like no one actually reads your big blog posts. Like people will skim through, but the models will read. And I think people still have the ability to read like 2 pages. Um, what will be actually what I'm very, very interested in the next 5 years is like, what if like web pages as like traditional sense will go away? Meaning that like for me, a lot of times when I'm searching or asking questions, I don't need to see anything. I can use voice and just get the answer right there. Like when I'm debating whether to do X or Y, I'll just talk to the system. So I really think it will become far more like important, like to optimize for voice and discoverability there. And yeah, final thing that I'm very excited about is this year, OpenAI bought the lab with Johnny Ive, and like he did phenomenal work at Apple. And maybe he will do something else, like something similar as well. They will probably not develop the necklace similar to like friend.com or other like AI parts, but like I'm really excited to see a new hardware coming along. I have no idea. Like genuinely, I have no idea. But what I'm betting my like future on is that machines will do the like like searching in the web, and our job as like site owners is just to like present them the facts we have on our website the best way possible, regardless of the computing platform. Search will not go away. Like people have been searching for the last 5,000 years, and they will continue to do that. So like don't worry about that.
I appreciate it. That's a very insightful answer. This has been an amazing conversation. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time. And I hope that we get to do this again sometime in the future.
Thank you. It was nice to be here.